Okay, Module 5 is the food service. The purpose of this module is to teach trainees about basic nutritional responsibilities of an ALF. The objective is upon completion of this module, the trainee will be able to demonstrate an understanding of the responsibilities regarding the appointment of a food service supervisor, demonstrate knowledge of the food service in-service training and continuing education requirements and how to document the training, demonstrate an understanding of dietary standards for regular and special diets, therapeutic diet orders, and the responsibility to meet a resident's dietary needs, demonstrate an understanding of menu planning and requirements, menu accessibility to residents, and keeping the menu records, regular and therapeutic menu review process. Demonstrate an understanding of timely spacing of meals, food presentation and temperature, assistance with eating, use of catered services and availability of snacks. Demonstrate an understanding of standards applying to food handling, storage, and sanitation guidelines, including dishwashing. Demonstrate an understanding of the facility's responsibility and requirements when residents refuse therapeutic diets. Demonstrate an understanding of requirements and the purpose of maintaining a non-perishable food supply. Demonstrate knowledge of conditions warranting the services of a dietary consultant and documentation standards. Demonstrate knowledge of methods to correct deficiencies related to dietary standards. Staff whose duties are exclusively building or grounds maintenance, clerical, or food preparation do not count towards meeting the minimum staff hours requirement. Food service means the storage, preparation, service, and cleanup of food intended for consumption in a facility either by facility staff or through a formal agreement that meals will be regularly catered by a third party. When food service is provided by the facility, the administrator or an individual designated in writing by the administrator must be responsible for total food services and the day-to-day supervision of food service staff. If the designee is an individual who has not completed an approved assisted living facility core training course, such individual must complete the food and nutrition services module of the core training course before assuming responsibility for the facility's food service. The designee is not subject to the 1 hour in-service training in safe food handling practice. If the designee is a certified food manager, certified dietary manager, registered or licensed dietitian, dietetic, registered technician, or health department sanitarian, the designee is exempt from the requirement to complete the food and nutrition services module of the core training course before assuming responsibility for the facility's food service. An administrator or designee must perform his or her duties in a safe and sanitary manner. An administrator or designee must provide regular meals that meet the nutritional needs of the residents and therapeutic diets as ordered by the resident's healthcare provider for residents who require special diets. An administrator or designee must comply with the food service continuing education requirements. The administrator or person designated by the administrator as responsible for the facility's food service and the day-to-day supervision of food service staff must obtain annually a minimum of 2 hours continuing education in topics pertinent 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 to nutrition and food service in an assisted living facility. This requires that this requirement does not apply to administrators and designees who are exempt from the training requirements. A certified food manager, licensed dietitian, registered dietary technician, or health department sanitarian is qualified to train assisted living facility staff in nutrition and food service. The meals provided by the assisted living facility must be planned based on the current USDA dietary guidelines for Americans 2020 through 2025, which are incorporated by reference and available for review at the site below, and the current table of dietary reference intakes established by the Food and Nutrition Board of the Institute of Medicine of the National Academies 2019, which are incorporated by reference and available for review at these websites below. Therapeutic diets must meet these nutritional standards to the extent possible. Food while being transported, stored, prepared, displayed, served, or sold at a food service establishment shall be protected from dust, flies, rodents, or other vermin, toxic materials, unclean equipment and utensils, unnecessary handling, coughs and sneezes, flooding by sewage, overhead leakage, and all other sources of contamination. Different types of raw animal products such as beef, fish, lamb, pork, or poultry shall be separated during storage and processing by use of different containers, partis- partitions, shelves, or by cleaning and sanitizing the equipment between product use. Raw food products shall be physically separated from ready-to-eat food products during display or storage by storing the raw products below ready-to-eat foods products or using the other approved methods. Bacteria can multiply rapidly if left at a room temperature or in the danger zone between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Never leave perishable food out for more than 2 hours, or 1 hour if exposed to temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Potentially hazardous food which are to be served without further cooking, such as harm salad, chicken salad, egg salad, shrimp salad, lobster salad, tuna salad, potato salad, and other mixed foods containing potentially hazardous ingredients or dressings shall be prepared from chilled products with a minimum of manual contact. The surfaces of containers and the utensils used for preparation and subsequent storage shall have been effectively cleaned and sanitized immediately prior to use. Potentially hazardous food requiring refrigeration after preparation shall be rapidly cooled to an internal temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below. The cooling period shall not exceed 4 hours. Potentially hazardous food of large volume or prepared in large quantities shall be rapidly cooled, utilizing one or more of the following methods based on the type of food being cooled. Placing the food in shallow pans. Separating the food into smaller or thinner portions. Using rapid cooling equipment. Stirring the food in a container placed in ice water bath. Using containers that facilitate heat transfer. Adding ice as an ingredient. Other effective methods approved by the department. Frozen, potentially hazardous food shall be thawed. In refrigerated units at a temperature not to exceed 41 degrees Fahrenheit, or under cold, potable running water with sufficient water velocity to agitate and flow off loosened food particles into the overflow. For a period of time that does not allow thawed portions of ready-to-eat food to rise above 41 degrees Fahrenheit, or for a period of time that does not allow thawed portions of raw animal food requiring cooking to be above 41 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 4 hours, including the time the food is exposed to the running water and the time needed for the preparation for cooking, or in a microwave oven, or as part of the conventional cooking process. Raw unprocessed fruit and vegetables shall be thoroughly washed in a potable water to remove any existing contaminants before being cut, combined with the other ingredients, cooked or served. Commuted meat, such as hamburger, products shall be thoroughly cooked to heat all parts of the meat to a minimum temperature of 155 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 15 seconds. Stuffings, poultry, stuffed meat, and stuffed poultry shall be heated throughout to a minimum temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 15 seconds. Raw animal products such as eggs, fish, lamb, pork, or beef, except roast beef, and foods containing these raw ingredients shall be cooked to an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit or above for at least 15 seconds, except that upon request of the consumer, animal products which have not been cooked as above may be offered for consumption. Fresh, frozen, or canned fruits and vegetables that are cooked for hot holding shall be cooked to a minimum temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The resident's nutritional needs must be met by offering a variety of meals adapted to the food habits, preferences, and physical abilities of the residents, and must be prepared through the use of standardized recipes. For facilities with a licensed capacity of 16 or fewer residents, standardized recipes are not required. Unless a resident chooses to eat less, the facility must serve the standard minimum portions of the food according to the dietary reference intakes. All regular and therapeutic menus to be used by the facility must be reviewed annually by a licensed or registered dietitian, a licensed nutritionist, or a registered dietetic technician supervised by a licensed or registered dietitian or a licensed nutritionist to ensure the meals meet the nutritional standards established in this rule. The annual review must be documented in the facility's files and include the original signature of the reviewer, registration or license number, and date reviewed. Portion sizes must be indicated on the menus or on a separate sheet. Daily food servings may be divided among 3 or more meals per day, including snacks as necessary to accommodate residents' needs and preferences. Menu items may be substituted with items of comparable nutritional value based on the seasonal availability of fresh produce or the preferences of the resident. Menus must be dated and planned at least 1 week in advance for both regular and therapeutic diets. Residents must be encouraged to participate in menu planning. Planned menus must be conspicuous, posted, or easily available to residents. Regular and therapeutic menus as served, with substitutions noted before or when the meal is served, must be kept on file in the facility for 6 months. Therapeutic diets must be prepared and served as ordered by the healthcare provider. Facilities that offer residents a variety of food choices through a select menu, buffet style dining, or family style dining, are not required to document what is eaten unless a healthcare provider order indicates that such monitoring is necessary. However, the food items that enable residents to comply with the therapeutic diets must be identified on the menus developed for the use in the facility. The facility must document a resident's refusal to comply with the therapeutic diet and provide notifications to the resident's healthcare provider of such refusal. For facilities serving 3 or more meals a day, no more than 14 hours must elapse between the end of an evening meal containing a protein food and the beginning of a morning meal. Intervals between meals must be evenly distributed throughout the day, with not less than 2 hours nor more than 6 hours between the end of one meal and the beginning of the next. For residents without access to kitchen facilities, snacks must be offered at least once per day. Snacks are not considered to be meals for the purposes of calculating the time between meals. Food must be served attractively at safe and palatable temperatures. All residents must be encouraged to eat at tables in the dining areas. A supply of eating ware sufficient for all residents, including adaptive equipment if needed by any resident, must be on hand. A 3-day supply of non-perishable food based on the number of weekly meals the facility has contracted with the resident to serve must be on hand at all times. The quantity must be based on the resident census and not on the licensed capacity. The supply must consist of foods that can be stored safely without refrigeration. Water sufficient for drinking and food preparation must also be stored, or the facility must have a plan for obtaining water in an emergency, with a plan coordinated with and reviewed by the local disaster preparedness authority. Food hygiene. Copies of inspection reports issued by the County Health Department for the last 2 years, as applicable, depending on the license capacity of the assisted living facility, must be on file in the facility. When food service is contracted by the facility must ensure that the contracted food service meets all dietary standards imposed by this rule and is adequately protected upon delivery to the facility. The facility must maintain a copy of the current contract between the facility and the food service contractor, a copy of the annually issued certificate or license authorizing the operation of the food service contractor issued by the applicable regulating agency. The license or certificate must provide documentation of the food service contractors. Compliance with food service regulatory requirements.